this year's theme, though, is more trees, please, and really promoting the benefit of trees in urban environments. And this is something that Phil, you've been quite involved with in your local area, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely, Matt. You know, I've got a story to tell that which happened to me just last year, without even thinking of this campaign before it even came about. It was a stinking hot day, and I live in Lismore, and Lismore in the summertime is stinking hot. I'll tell you how this place is shaped. You've got hills around the place, and the city itself is down the bottom there, and it often floods. You often hear about Lismore flooding. It's surrounded by mountains. You get these rivers that come through. There's two rivers that join there, but that also creates a very hot spot that often doesn't get breezes, and we call it the wok because of the way it's shaped. And on a hot summer's day, it feels like you're in the wok, you know, sizzling away. And I'll tell you what, if you're wearing thongs, be careful, because you can one step out onto the tarmac, suddenly it sticks and you're over. You know, it's that kind of place. It was one of those days in Lismore. I was wandering down the street, and it was so hot. And you know, on a hot day when you feel so exposed, it was midday, and the sun is just beaming down, and all the concrete and everything around you, all those hot surfaces are just reflecting this incredible heat. And in the distance, I could see this tree, and it had a little bit of red on it. It looked like, you know, a poinciana tree, and I could see it. It was about 115 metres away. And I'll tell you, it was just like in the movies, you know, when the guy's down on the knees and walking, you know, dragging themselves across the desert, and you can see this mirage. And I thought, is this a mirage or what? Because there was not a tree to be seen on the street where I was walking. I finally got there and I touched it. It was a real tree, beautiful shade. Suddenly, it felt like a safe place to be underneath this tree. I sat in under this tree and just basically thanked this tree for being there. And it was so cool, it was refreshing. I was able to revive myself so I could carry on. But I looked back on the street that I'd walked down and thought, blimey, this tree is so valuable. Why hasn't this street got poincianas all the way down it? And I thought, well, actually, where I live, there are a lot of streets that are just like that, covered in tarmac, covered in concrete, with not a tree to be seen. I think, well, how long has this street been like this? Why hasn't somebody planted some trees? We all know the value of trees, shade for one thing, you know, softening the landscape another, encouraging, you know, wildlife, creating a beautiful living thing in our cities. Why hasn't this been done? So I really thought, well, come on, we've got to do something about this. We've got to create something for the next generation. And you know, when you go to a city that has got a lot of street trees, and you drive down an avenue of beautifully matured and placed street trees, maybe of the same species, but usually of the same species, just has this feeling of grandeur, doesn't it? You drive down a street and doesn't it make you feel good? And then you come around another street and it's just like, you know, it's not there, just you feel nothing. But when you go through an avenue of beautiful mature trees, it feels great. And you think, actually, I'd like to live on this street. So it adds value in that, you know, real estate commercial way. You think, well, these trees really add value. I think, well, okay, the forefathers of this city really thought, well, they've produced these wonderful avenues for people to enjoy that we can enjoy now. And I think, well, I've got a responsibility now, particularly as a horticulturist and a plant lover and a guy who's whinging about no trees, to do something about it in the city where I live. So I made contact with the Parks and Gardens people and said, well, we need more trees around here. Please. Yeah, with manners. That's right. More trees, please. And I felt compelled to write about it, and I did a blog piece on my experience of wandering down the street that day and there was no tree. We need more trees, and they agreed, yeah, we do, we need to get on it. And I said, well, let's start putting together, let's find the spaces where